And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Marty's there. Cannot count after 37.
Oh! Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes Zwack.
A push from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
The stage is set at Daytona for a new season of VSLR Truck Series. It's the SET Southeast Tutoring World Truck Series Monday nights, presented by Beltway Coffee Co. for the Daytona 200 here. And tonight, we have a full field of 40 plus cars. Flag to flag coverage here on VSPEED. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, and I'm joined in the booth here tonight by a special guest, Matt McCleskey, excuse me, I apologize. Gonna bring him down here on the grid here very soon. We got a minute 54 left before we hit pit road. And Matt, I know you have a lot of scripts to go through, but we're going to talk about iRacing and how excited I am to bring a new season of VSRL flag to flag all season long.
Sounds good.
So Matt, have you ever experienced what it feels like to be in one of these virtual machines and go 200 miles per hour at the Daytona Super Speedway?
Not at Daytona, but I have done it at Richmond.
Been here at Richmond, and it is a good time. As real as it gets without actually being in the stock car. And that fear part, it's still the adrenaline pumps. It makes you feel alive. And it's a great experience if you've never been a part of it. I absolutely highly recommend it. But we're getting down there to go trackside with just about a minute left. I know that a lot of people have been anticipating this new start to this season here for Daytona. Got a full race schedule to bring you. I've got it up on your screen now, and it's going to be Daytona, Las Vegas, and Texas to start out the first 3 this season. Circuit of Americas is going to be our first road course this year, and then Atlanta Motor Speedway, and I would assume it's going to be the new Atlanta Myrtle Beach Speedway. Not a usual scheduled track for a lot of guys that do any kind of NASCAR racing. Bristol Motor Speedway also on the schedule, so a little bit of short tracks, a lot of variety. And I hope you guys are as excited as I am as we wrap it up at Chicagoland, December 18th. Outside of that, we're getting ready to go trackside right now for the command to start the engines.
Perfect. Thanks, Bradley. Hey, everyone. Matt McCluskey here. Looking forward to a great race here at Daytona. Really appreciate the guys at VSLR putting this on. Before we start, just wanted to give a quick moment of silence for the 2,977 people that lost their life that day, 22 years ago, and for their families and all of those that have served protecting us and given us the opportunity to have fun racing on a Monday night. So if you served or your family's first responders or in the military, thank you very much. But like I said, I'm the CEO of Beltway Coffee. We're super excited to sponsor this race. Check out our website at Beltway Coffee Co., beltwaycoffeeco.com. We deliver straight to your door, and look forward to helping you guys out getting caffeinated. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
And we appreciate that. Thank you very much, Matt McCluskey. I don't know why I'm struggling so much with that name tonight. I said it to you right back, and I said that's correct, and I got it the first time, right?
You did. You did.
I did. I appreciate your time. And Beltway Coffee Co. sponsoring tonight's race. Thank you very much. And we're going to go trackside here and get your grid for your pole sitter, Brian Hennings. Going to put it up front here tonight for the Bald Head Island Vacations Pole Award. Number 74 puts up an excellent lap time to get up front. Beat the second place driver, Donald Stewart, by 0.02 of a second. Matt, you're more than welcome if you want to go back down there to 16-1 Motorsports. I know there's some really talented guys down there getting ready to race. I can move you back down there if you'd like.
Yep, that sounds good.
We'd like to thank Matt for joining us up here in the broadcast booth here tonight. But let's get the rest of your grid up there on the screen. VSLR, Brian Hennings, Donald Stewart side by side as they roll off, and Teresa Spiker, Nick Gardner are going to be the next row. Row number 3 will be Jacob Daniels with Todd Cleveland, Steven Aguirre in 7th, and Dylan Nisbro in 8th. Rounding out your top 10 here tonight will be the 24 of Dakota Floyd with Nicholas Pressey in 10th. 11th spot will be Justin Ritchie with Paul McDonald in 12th. 13th will be Jimmy Sox and Riley Leverine and Laverny, I apologize, in 14th. 15th will be Shane Gunter with Rick Fagone in 16th. 17th, Mark Math, Kyle Stewart 18th. 19th will be John Buell and Brian Edwards in 20th. Morgan Cook 21st, John Sanu 22nd. 23rd will be Max Koss, Frank Zingen with the 24th spot, and Sean Langton 25th, Justin Mullins 26th. A huge field here tonight. Thad Miller 27th, Chris Max 28th, RF Boyer in 29th, Cole Jarrett in 30th. 31st will be Ross Phillips with Richard Holland in 32nd. 33rd will be the admins here tonight, I believe, and then some cars not taking the times. Benjamin Richards, Randy Swale, Kobe Collins, Brent McKee, and that will do it here tonight. Huge field. They actually extended the pace laps, thankfully for me here tonight, because we were having a hard time getting through that list, but we got it done. We got it done as best we could. Appreciate everybody tuning in here tonight for VSLR or VS. Yeah, I'm gonna get through this tonight. I promise, guys. We're having a technical difficulty with my brain, I believe. VSRL Truck Series. I don't know. I could rehearse it a million times in my brain, but it's getting it to connect to my mouth. Anyway, nonetheless, I usually pick a driver that's outstanding through the field, and I've got quite a few familiar names here on the track tonight. It's going to be tough to decide because it's Daytona. Anything can happen at this place. So we really have no idea what really can go down. But a reminder, discover Bald Head Island just 20 minutes off of North Carolina coast where the Cape Fear River meets the Atlantic. You can arrive by ferry and explore by golf cart. Experience nature's paradise with 14 miles of beaches, lush maritime forest, and 10,000 acres of salt marsh. Whether it's a weekend trip or even longer, find your perfect vacation home at baldheadislandsvacations.com. So a little sorting going on here through the field, and lights are still on the pace truck as they cycle through all of this. They did extend the yellow for me, and I appreciate that very much. Brian Henning starting up front, and I believe this is the moment where we're doing a 3-wide moment of silence here for all of those that lost their lives September 11th in 2001, 12 years ago today. The back straightaway, getting ready to go back to our normal gridding positions as they all file back into double file. Those of you that did not experience that terrible tragedy on 9/11, the attack on America, it was something that will stick in our minds forever. When America's freedom was challenged. Ryan Hennings on the pole. You can see a lot of themed paint schemes out here on the grid. Very patriotic looking field. And the 74 of Brian Hennings getting ready for that pace truck to pull off. Makes the left-hand turn down pit road. That Silverado's out of the way. And the Silverado's going to lead him into turn 1. Donald Stewart on the outside. We're going to tee off VSRL Truck Series at Daytona. To lead lap number 1, it's going to be the 16 of Nick Gardner, a very familiar name that I know very well. He's going to get around the 78 and the 74 of Brian Hennings. They drop back into the inside line. They got pretty much tackled on the outside, and the 44 of Todd Cleveland shoved the 16 all the way up there. Great moves by that team. Down the back straightaway, Todd Cleveland on the outside. Nick Gardner, a few cars dropping out of line. I believe that's the 41 of Kyle Stewart that dropped down there below the apron. Just behind him, the 55, 51 maybe of Morgan Cook. No, 55 for sure. These guys dropping way back. Kyle Stewart has lost quite a few positions as they round through here. But Gardner now having a challenger. Stewart on the outside, probably going to lead lap number 2. He does get away with it by a couple hundredths of a second. Now he's getting a shove by Todd Cleveland. He might get by. Not this time, though. Side by side all the way through this field. You can take the drone camera all the way up into the sky and see these guys all the way down the backstretch. It's intense. the action. There's a nice faraway view of how deep the 2 wide goes. This pack is not split off. Small little tandem of cars, and I believe that's led by Kyle Stewart, who fell all the way back to the 31st position. Pretty far drop there, but these guys seem like they're not comfortable running up front. And here we go in mid-pack in about 11th position, riding on board here with the number 10 of Rick Fagone. He's on the outside line of the 72 of Jacob Daniels. Nowhere to go. 200-mile-an-hour traffic jam. Gardner's going to lead another lap that time by. Now Stewart drops down in front of the 16 of Nick Gardner. 44 of Todd Cleveland trying to take away that lead. And Dylan Disborough giving a good shove here. Nicholas Pressey, a name we haven't talked about yet this race, in that classic style fire truck. Trying to get by on the outside. He's making up some ground, and now the 44 drops down to the bottom. Cleveland able to take over the lead. Some of the rookies that we have broadcasted here on VSPEED previously, but haven't talked about at VSRL before. That's the number 70 of Teresa Spiker, a new driver coming over from the VRX World Cup Series. Qualified up front and has maintained a top 10, running in the 9th position. Just behind her, some names that we've talked about at other leagues. Leagues that I used to race in. The 72 of Jacob Daniels. He's just outside the top 10. He was running inside of Rick Fagone a moment ago. A lot of pushing going on here mid-pack to try to get up front. Nose to tail, all the way, 2 wide. As they come off of turn 2, that outside line hasn't been as organized as it was previously. Disborough able to get down in front. Maybe a push here down the backstretch from Pressey to get clear of the leader. Not enough here into 3. Some excellent racing, 6 laps into this event. 80 laps to total it out. Donald Stewart almost had a good enough push there to get the 44 clear. He does clear him coming out of 2. Maybe a good enough push. They've got a lap car on the bottom here, and it looks like the 9 of Benjamin Richards might get in the way and take him 3 wide as they go out of 4. He does. He's holding up next to the wall. Holding up there quite well, but he has 30-plus cars to get by. Will he hold it up there long enough? There's Max Koss going by now in the 63. He does hold it together well enough, and everyone's able to clear for lap number 8. So this top 20 or so has not left each other. There is a little bit of a gap here back. Morgan Cook has fallen down. He put it into the inside line, just kind of playing the field. That's the 51. It's not a huge gap. He still has the draft, so no worries here for the 51 as of now. But if you look at some of the other drivers' tactics here tonight, you can see Kyle Stewart and those behind, Ross Phillips, Brent McKee, Richard Holland. They've all fallen way deep into the field, and that's kind of a catch-22. As close as they are right now, usually drivers go back there to see the wrecks happening, be able to brake and avoid the accidents, but you have to stay with the draft, and unfortunately, these drivers are very close, almost to the point to where they won't be able to see it happen if it happens right in front of them. The spoiler's pretty tall on these trucks. It's very difficult to see through the back window. Smoke is about your only indicator, and sometimes fire is coming before smoke. These guys will kind of self-clean off the racetrack and come back up. If it happens in a turn, they'll typically be a big wreck at Daytona. This pack racing, it's intense, it's tough. But let's ride on board to give you fully an understanding of what it's like as we ride with Paul McDonald in the 6th position. He's picked up 6 spots from where he began tonight's race. Now 7 as he passes the outside. Big push here. And the 7 of Dylan Disbro is almost able to clear Todd Cleveland. Not this time, though. And the 78 of Donald Stewart with a great push on the inside. Here's these trucks storm by. The sound they make at 8,500, 9,000 RPMs. Wide open all the way around this place, especially for your leaders. Occasionally a slight lift. For some of these drivers on back, you can ride on board and hear these drivers taking it a little bit easy right now. Gonna move out of line here for the 15. I believe that was the 15. Being labeled as a 15 truck, at least. On the outside, falling through the field here. Not sure, and that's Kobe Collins. He is now being scored a lap down on the outside. Just in front of Kobe, it looks like the 86 of John Sanu is running that outside line by himself. John starts back in the 22nd position. Back to 31st now. As these laps tick away, we're 12 laps into a race with 34 cars on the track. 36, actually. 00 of Randy Swale blinking in and out here. Pretty bad here tonight. Can't quite get the cameras on him. But iRacing, with its Week 13 update, has changed some prospects, details and physics on the grass. It's going to be interesting to see if any of these guys get shot down to the grass, how they're going to handle it, because we've been quite used to the grass being kind of like ice here on the service for a lot of years. It's made it rather difficult sometimes to save. That time by Todd Cleveland with a huge push, and the 78 is doing a phenomenal job keeping this 44 up front. Donald Stewart, amazing work. The 16 of Nick Gardner, he's found his way back into the 3rd position. Might have a chance to clear, but that's Brian Hennings, your pole sitter. He comes back out on the outside and takes this opportunity to have Dylan Disbro push him to the front. Cleveland going to lead another lap, this time by. And it's been pretty dominant here for the 44. He's had a great pusher with the 78. Donald Stewart pulling him up there. That really is what it amounts to, is what your partner is capable of. And it's all about timing. You don't want to push in the entries or exits of a turn. Now, last lap, you can occasionally meet a bumper, but you have to meet it square in these corners. It's the transitions on this track that really upset these trucks. And if you get too close to the apron in front of the guy that's pushing you, spells catastrophe for everyone behind you. Not a lot of room for error. Side drafting, another aspect of this kind of racing. And you can maneuver your way through this field very quickly, as we're seeing with the number 34 of Brian Edwards. He started back in 20th, and it's fitting that there's a number 3 on that machine because he's up to 9th here. And a little checkup here. I believe that was the 33. Dropped down in front of him. Paul McDonald went from the outside to the inside, and you can hear the lift there by the 34 being labeled as the number 3 just behind him. Some other drivers worth mentioning. We can talk about it right now as we zoom in on the number 51 of Morgan Cook. '51 machine sponsored by Orange Speed and the Orange Speed team. And speaking of Orange Speed, they just recently launched the Orange Speed Vantage AI. Finally, some iRacing car setups personalized to your own driving style. The must-have tool for every iRacing subscriber. You can visit orangespeedvantage.ai to figure out more and try that out. I would highly recommend it. Sounds to me like they've perfected the way to drive a setup and tune your truck, car, any setup they got out there. It's for any model on iRacing, even the new ones. So coming around here for lap number 18, Todd Cleveland has led 10 of them. He has a challenge, though, on the outside by the number 74 of Brian Hennings. And through your field, it's Todd Cleveland, Hennings, Stewart, Disbro, Gardner, Laverne, Cressy, Fagone, Buell, and Spiker. Just outside that top 10, we have R.F. Boyer, and he's just so fast to go from this position to 12th. That is incredible. 29th position to start this race. He's picked up 17 spots. A remarkable drive here for the 14. So if you're just joining the VSRL Truck Series, we ran a successful season last year, or early this year, wrapping up just around March, and it was an excellent deal. These guys were about 22, 23 cars strong at the end of that season, maintained those truck numbers all the way through. And here we are at Daytona with 36 trucks on the racetrack and no cautions. And we're a quarter of a way into this race. '74 Brian Hennings takes back what was rightfully his. Able to drop down in front of the 44, who's led the vast majority of these laps. But the 7 of Dylan Disbro says, I want a lap lead. I've been up there pushing you. I got to take this away. He's got 3 of them so far. Doesn't look like he's going to get this one, though. Riley Laverne on the outside pushing him now. And the 10 of Rick Fagone joining that tandem of cars. Not a lot of movement here. You can see how close they have to run up next to the wall, and a car gets shot out of line. That's the 00, I do believe, of Randy Swale. He's going to go a lap down now to these leaders. No cautions yet, and some of these drivers that maybe planned on a caution happening that sandbagged or took it easy in a little 3 wide. There's some contact between the 34 and the 00. Solly not able to hold it up there into the entrance of 3. And does get a little bit of a tag there as they come out of 4. But Todd Cleveland pushing Brian Hennings to lead that lap. The top 5 or 6 are right on top of each other. Fagone doesn't have anywhere to go right now. I'm seeing some green flag pit stops. I believe that is a group led by John Buell as they come down pit road. Frank Zingen and Justin Mullins, Max Koss, Chris Max, Cole Jarrett all come down pit road. It looks like Brent McGee also coming down. So a few of these drivers starting off the tandem down pit road and all down and away. Looked like maybe some fuel-only stops for some of these drivers. But for the most part, it looked like 4 tires and a big group of cars coming down pit road. The 34 has to check out. Oh, that was intense coming down pit road. If we can get the drone camera to the instant replay. You can see this huge group of trucks coming down. The 16, the 10, all abort. The 34 aborts, but he loses a ton of positions. We'll go back one more time with Rick Fagone. Right on board with him on the nose. Look at this checkup. He follows the 16 right to the outside. Oh, the 34 tries it. How did we not have a caution there? And more trucks coming down pit road. They're going to try it this time. And the 72 locks it up hard. I think he got it, though. And contact, the 86, the 8. That was the 8 of Sean Langton that gets turned on pit road. Went back a little too far here on the replay, but you'll see it as they come down. So the only incident really in this race happens on pit road between the 86 and the 8. You see the 8 kind of on the outside there. He late pits on the outside. He doesn't get a speeding penalty. Both the 72 and the 8 lock it up pretty hard. But the 86 is trapped down there, and the 8 of Langton cuts across the nose, trying to get to his box. Has to back it up here. He's too far to the right. Comes back out on the racetrack. He lost about 12, 13 positions. He's back in 26th. Hasn't lost the field, Joe. He's going to be in good shape there. Nicholas Pressey down pit road. Last truck to come down. He ran 26 laps. And Morgan Cook actually just behind him. So Donald Stewart back up front. Has a 7 of Dylan Disbro behind him. And they're going to come around Nicholas Pressey and Morgan Cook to take back this lead at lap 26. Pressey all by himself. Not going to have that draft help, and here comes the freight train of trucks. Down the back straightaway, Pressey barely up to speed. And trust me, he's full throttle right now. That draft making all the difference to get these trucks up to power. And just like that, here comes the 78 to go around the 94. A couple other drivers shooting it down pit road. Looks like the 14 RF Boyer coming down a little bit late here for the 14. Maybe a penalty, pass through for a penalty. Not entirely sure. But working that outside line, Thad Miller down on the bottom. Looks like the 19 and the 7 are going to do it. They come up to the outside, try to challenge the 78. And there's another consistent pair back together. Riding on board here with the number 24 of Dakota Floyd. Sponsored by Beltway Coffee, sponsoring tonight's race. Having an excellent drive. He's in the top 20 here tonight. And a little bit of sandbagging here for the 24 team. But nonetheless, they're going to try to get back up to the front and pick up some of those positions lost when they started in the, I believe, the 9th position. So a few different teammates here for 16-1. You have the 72 of Jacob Daniels. The 86 of John Sanu, you saw, got into the side of the 8 of Langton. 24 of Dakota Floyd out there as well. John Sanu off the racetrack here tonight. No, I apologize. Actually still out there having a little bit of connection issues with some of these trucks on the spread. You can see how far back these guys are. Pretty big gap to that front pack. Oh, and some trouble there. Car gets shot down to the inside. Not entirely sure who that was. That was Brian Hennings, who's led some laps here tonight. Gets thrown down to the bottom. Go back and take an instant replay of what happened to the 74. It just gets tagged in a weird spot, maybe. Shoots it all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack. The 343 on that machine. So, no cautions here tonight. 30 laps into this race. An unbelievable race thus far. The big one has not happened yet, and we still have 36, 35 cars out here on the racetrack. Brent McGee has taken it behind the wall. But outside of that, these guys still trying to figure out what they're going to do. As Todd Cleveland and Donald Stewart have led the vast majority of this race. 5 laps led now for the 78. He's got a good pusher. They were great partners at the beginning, and it was kind of a turnaround here after pit stops. The 7, Disbro, trying to get around him. He's led a few as well. 5 laps led for the 7. Some of the biggest movers of the night. Chris Max, 21 positions gained. The 121 Guns N' Roses machine has picked him up and put him down. 22 positions gained for this driver as well. Ross Phillips started back at 31st. Finds himself in the top 10, just inside of your second biggest mover now. These guys shuffling around for position. It's hard to decide who's got the biggest moves. So we'll talk about the third biggest mover of the race, the 88 of Cole Jarrett. He has picked up 20 thus far. So 80 laps at Daytona, 33 of them are in the books. Still a lot more racing to go. You're watching the VSRL Truck Series live on VSPEED. If you are enjoying what you're watching right now, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a single race. So we bring you the entire season, presented by Southeast Tutoring. Stewart gonna lead this time by another lap led for the 78. Dylan Disborough almost gets clear of him across the start-finish line. Some of these drivers shuffling around, trying to find their way back up to the front. That's the 16 of Nick Gardner, who started in 4th, currently outside the top 10 in 13th. A lot of work left to be done, though. We're not quite at the halfway point. 25 laps on the stint for the first pit stop. So I expect these drivers to pit somewhere around lap 50. They're gonna have to make this race a 3-stop race. Unless we have a caution, they're gonna have to bring it down pit road. Limited sets of tires here tonight. So some of the drivers that took those tires to start this thing off might find themselves in a situation where they can't take tires in the last pit stop. Some shuffling going on the outside. The 7 loses ground. Disborough loses a ton of time. And you can see that outside line falling almost like an attrition. The 62 of Frank Zingen almost gets into the back of the 19 of Riley Laverne, and now a truck all the way up on the outside. That's the 121 Guns N' Roses machine of Chris Max. Truck down on the apron. I believe that's the 5 of Ross Harlow, or Ross Phillips, I apologize. All the way down below the yellow line. Letting a ton of trucks go by. Now up on the bumper behind him is Richard Holland in the 18. The second tandem of cars staying with the draft, but not really pushing the issue as we get to the halfway point. They're going to have to pick and choose the time that they go. It's going to be difficult to get around all these trucks in front of them. Might have to take them 3 wide. And we talked about the big one that can happen here at Daytona. That's typically where it begins. 3 wide racing, 5-6 rows deep. Guys trying to get big runs. Guys seeing those big runs, putting on blocks. Situational awareness. The spotter maybe a little late on a call. Checking back in with the 51 of Morgan Cook. Bring it back up there on your screen for the Orange Speed Vantage AI. Personalized car setups based on your driving style. Updated with all the newly released vehicles, including the Acura and Porsche GTP-S. The GTPs, a fully trained AI-powered iRacing car setup expert that you can leverage year-round. Orange Speed Vantage AI is the new standard for competitive, optimized, and personal iRacing setups. You can visit orangespeedvantage.ai to get started. So through the field halfway through, it's Donald Stewart, Dylan Disborough, Todd Cleveland, Riley Laverne, Steve Aguirre, Frank Zingen, Thad Miller, Chris Max, Jacob Daniels, and a fight between Rick Fagone and Cole Jarrett for the top 10. You're watching VSRL Cup Series, the truck series on VSPEED. Beltway Coffee Code 200 at Daytona Super Speedway. We'll be back right after this.
Oh, big wiggle. And here comes Milo. Big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh! Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes Slack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
Back here live, the Beltway Coffee Code 200 at Daytona Super Speedway. 80 laps, 160 miles. Nonetheless, it's been a good one. 42 laps into this race, and we're caution-free. A lot of lead changes here as we go through our race recap. 24 of them. So it's been competitive out here tonight. With all the different leaders, Donald Stewart, Todd Cleveland, Dylan Disbrow, Thad Miller. Just so many different drivers that have been up towards the front here tonight. It's been a good one thus far. If you're just joining us, hang on to your seat because we're not done yet. Donald Stewart, 12 laps led here thus far. Disbrow on the outside trying to get pushed on by. Hasn't been able to do so just yet. He has got a couple laps led, 8 to be exact. But just not quite a good enough push on the outside line. Some of the drivers that got shuffled out that have recovered a little bit. Their pole sitter, 1 lap down. Brian Hennings, he's back to 30th position, trying to get back on that lead lap. The caution has not come to get him back up there. He's trying to get back the old-fashioned way. Green flag pit stops probably approaching here soon, within the next 5 to 6 laps. There's Ross Phillips, who has been kind of sitting back, calm and quiet tonight, working his way back up through the field. 12th position here for the 5. Chris Max in the 121. He's going to be at the tail end of this inside line. Just before they go side by side with the 51 of Morgan Cook, who's also found himself a lap down. This was a tandem of cars that maybe got on and off pit road a little late, and now we see the 7 get shuffled out of line. Disbrow and the 19 of Laverne are falling back. Maybe getting a little hot here. That opens up the door for Justin Ritchie now. Ritchie side by side with your leaders. He has the push by Disbrow now. Actually, the 34, who's being scored a lap down, I believe. That's the 34. And a big push there to get it back up to the lead and a lap led here for the 55. '55 was almost clear of the 818 of Stephen Aguirre. Am I saying that one right? Is it Aguirre? Aguirre? I don't know. But there he clears him that time. Drops down in front. And he's going to get another lap led. Looking like green flag pit stops beginning again. 62. His engine's gonna lead him down. Maybe a little bit past the line there as he misses his box. Cole Jarrett and Chris Max also in as well. Moving back around down the back straightaway. Next tandem of cars, and it might be a little bit early for some of these guys that stretched out the run 26 laps. We're talking about maybe Nicholas Pressey and some of this tandem back here pitting a little bit later. Let's ride on board with the 16 who had an O moment coming down to pit road last time around. Look at these folks keeping it green for 48 laps. Richie brings it down pit road. The 818, the 78, the 44 all down in. No more takers on pit road yet. Down and away here for the 55. He's going to almost win the battle off pit road. The 818 does edge him out up in front. And now the next tandem of cars. Oh, and the 7 loses it. He somehow regains control. Completely sideways on the entrance to pit road. Locks up the brakes a little bit here, and maybe a speeding penalty here for the 7. We're not entirely sure. We're going to get back to live, and it might look that way. He is down and away. He was able to avoid the penalty, and wow, what a break here for the 7 of Dylan Disbro to not get that speeding penalty, completely locking up those tires. Now some more takers down. Looks like the 199 of Mark Matt. The 10 of Fagone stays out there, and he's going to lead this time by. 2 laps led now for the 10. He's got the 16. Nick Gardner just behind him. Richard Holland in the 18 in third. Nicholas Pressey, the last of this group that is still on the lead lap, probably going to bring it down this time by as they run up on the outside. A little movement there from the 86, not entirely sure. These guys are hitting pit road, and the 86 pops up in front of Rick Fagone. Fagone now down on pit road. Drops it down to speed, to 30, well, apologize, the 18 of Holland hits his stall. 16 in his as well. It's pretty much cycled them all out. We have the 94 of Nicholas Pressey still out there on the racetrack. He's going to have to figure out how to get to this inside. Will he be able to figure it out? He's trying to get to the bottom. Here he goes down now. believe this will cycle out the last of green flag pit stops for this tandem. Going by on the outside, the 818. They get around the 16, the 10, and the 18. Back to the lead here for the 818 of Allgaier, sorry. Pressey still on the pit road. And a big spread here, this field. All the way back to the last car on the lead lap. That's the 22. Shane Gunter, 27 seconds back. These guys at threat of going a lap down. Leading this group is Teresa Spiker with Max Koss pushing behind. Trying to get caught up to the group in front of them. That's Jimmy Sox and Thad Miller. Looking on the back of the 13, getting a push from the 01 of Jimmy Sox. Looking like a Marines logo on the hood of that truck. To the 34, had his lap back for a brief moment there. Falls back to one lap down, but he's on the outside, what would be the second position. The 7 of Dylan Disbrow is technically scored as a second place driver. He's led 9 laps here tonight. And you're seeing a lot of Vantage trucks out there. There's the 55 of Justin Ritchie. Talk about it again here with Orange Speed. Orange Speed Solutions, AI business strategies, consulting to guide you through the hype and the noise of AI implementation. Again, you can go check them out and visit orangespeedsolutions.com. 54 laps into this race. It's been a good show thus far. Dylan Disbrow, your leader now, with a big push here from Ross Phillips to get to the outside. The 51 of Morgan Cook, who's being scored a lap down, giving a shove to the 5. And they almost get clear. They do in the top 3. 51 going to try to get his lap back. He's going to take the 34 with him. The 7 does not drop down in front. With a caution-free race, if you made any mistakes on pit road here tonight, we talked about the 8 of Sean Langton. It's been tough to overcome. Back up in the 20th position, though, on the back bumper of Kyle Stewart. Trying to get this momentum back up to the top 10. They have quite the gap. We're talking about 5.3 seconds to the 199 of Mark Math. He is at the tail end of this big group of cars. I apologize, actually a little bit further back. So there's another tandem of Nicholas Pressey leading that group. Pressey, who stayed out on the racetrack the longest here tonight. Trying to wait for Cole Jarrett to catch up. It's Richard Holland in the 18, right behind Rick Fagone in the 12th position. So 12 trucks have split away. Still caution-free for 56 of them. Stephen Allgaier, the 818. He's going to lead maybe this time by as well. He does. And looking back, the common denominator here tonight has been the 78. The 51 of Morgan Cook gets his lap back. But praying for a caution is the 51 team right now. As these laps tick away, we're coming up on lap 60. The window for a caution getting shorter and shorter for some of these drivers that put themselves into a pickle here tonight. Allgaier is going to lead another lap on Justin Ritchie. Ritchie with the lap down truck. The number 34. Ryan Edwards. So I'm going to pull a guy down here because he hasn't had to do any work here tonight. They've been pretty well behaved. Garrett Helmlinger, owner of VSRL Truck Series, and Garrett, could you believe it? A field this big of 36 trucks.
I would have bet $1 million at the beginning of this race that 36 cars that were about to be 3/4 of the way done, that we haven't had a single yellow. We just had an accident just a second ago down the front stretch, but they kept it going straight.
Yeah, we saw this tandem of trucks, full field, going down pit road. They hadn't really left each other, and that first group decided to come down pit road.
There it goes.
Oh, there it is. There it is, right there. The curse of the camera, and then no yellow yet. No yellow. There it is. Yellow flag is out. That's what happens when you talk about it, Garrett.
Yeah, well, Bradley, I think that we officially just jinxed it.
I think we did too. We brought out the yellow flag. But that bails out some drivers like the 51 of Morgan Cook, the 34. They all got trapped a lap down. Brian Edwards, Hennings, Justin Mullins, all praying for that caution to come out. On lap 60, we're going to have our first one. Let's go back on the instant replay and take a look at that. We'll go back a little bit further here. It starts pretty much in the middle of the backstretch, I think. Justin Ritchie gets pushed out of line by the 34. And a little bit of damage there on the front. I think that was the 72 of Jacob Daniels that got into the back of someone. Go back over time and look at that. The 24 of Dakota Floyd is actually the culprit here. Not so much the culprit, but he is involved in it. So about a 6-truck accident on lap number 60. Nonetheless, it's been some good racing. Garrett, 32 lead changes with 1 caution. The big one hasn't happened yet. Do you predict these guys to get a little restless now with 20 to go?
Oh, yeah. We're going to pack them up and tell them your 80-lap race is now a 20-lap race. Yeah, it's going to get a little spicy at the end.
I would figure, and it's been a good one so far. I hope you guys have enjoyed the broadcast so far. I'll put you back up there in control tower so you can get back to work. But Garrett, thank you for your time, and we appreciate the great racing that we've seen so far here.
Yeah, man, I'm having a blast watching it. Can't wait for the rest of the season.
So there is your owner and operator and league admin. Garrett Helmlinger brought him down and jinxed the caution. But here we go, coming off of pit road. It's the 78, the 818. Trying to win that battle off of pit road, and they do. The 818 taking a quick stop of fuel only. Remember, these guys are going to be a little bit short. We've seen about 20 laps or 22 laps. They might be cutting it close. Some of these drivers doing the math with the waiver rounds. They're going to be in a situation where they'll have to pit. We'll have to wait and see as some of these drivers get ready to take their laps back. Morgan Cook gets back on the lead lap with the lucky dog position. So quite the bailout there for the 51 team as they got pinned a lap down during those pit stops. Mark Math stays out in the 199. Math actually, it came down 2 laps prior, so just about the time that yellow came out, Math had hit pit road. So now, with that pit stop looking genius, he's going to make it on fuel and be on the same tire strategy as the rest of this field. Nick Gardner back here in the 16. He's in 3rd. Rick Fagone, 4th position. Richard Holland, 5th. Dylan Disbro, 6th. Cole Jarrett in 7th. Nicholas Pressey, 8th. Chris Max, 9th. And Dakota Floyd, who got a little bit of contact there. A little bit of front end damage maybe on that truck. Not entirely sure. I got some of it repaired. We'll round out your top 10. You're watching the Beltway Coffee Code 200 here at Daytona. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back here live on VSPEED right after this.
And here comes Milo. Big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh! Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes Slack.
A push from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
Back here live on VSPEED, the Beltway Coffee Code 200 is back under green for the second time here tonight. 60 laps, caution free, and we've got less than 20 to go with Mark Math leading the pack, and it's 2x2 side-by-side racing all the way back to the 34th position. Some of the drivers that got a break there during that caution, the 51, the 15, the 14, getting some laps back. Last car on the lead lap is the 94 of Nicholas Pressey. Ryan Hennings also catching a break in the 74, the 343 machine. Able to get back on the lead lap. And we just talked to Garrett Helmlinger. Before that caution came out, we mentioned how they had been caution-free. Talking about the outstanding drive that some of these drivers are having here tonight and how well this field has kept it together. But look how crazy as they get racked back up. Telling them their 80-lap race is now 20 laps worth. And it's gotten insane up here towards the front. Side by side for the lead, Mark Math gonna lead him this time by with a great push from Nick Gardner on the back of that bumper. And yellow flag comes out. Not entirely sure. Maybe the 14 machine, I'm not 100%, maybe Kobe Columns, we're going to go back and take a VSPEED instant replay and figure out what happened here. And some diving. There's the 41 of Stewart, the 63 of Max Cost gets shot to the outside. Let's see what happens in front of Max Cost. Oh, some trucks hitting each other just in front of him. Cost has nowhere to go. I believe that was the 47. John Buell will go on board with him now. Well, he gets shot to the outside. He's already 3 wide. We'll back this up a little bit more. There he is on the outside line. Gets thrown up out of the way by Justin Ritchie. Bounces off the wall a couple different times. Teresa Spiker somehow able to hold on to that. But a few different trucks involved in this. And this will put a situation up with about 15 to go. I'm sorry, Garrett, I jinxed him here tonight. I know we were having some great racing. We had a 14 truck tandem that had split away for the rest of this field, but we're going to group them all back up yet again. Mark Math, Nick Gartner, Stephen Allgaier, Richard Holland, Rick Fagone, Cole Jarrett, Dylan Disborough, Chris Max, Dakota Floyd, and Jacob Daniels, the top 10 here tonight. All the different action, all the different lead changes that we've seen. 33 of them here tonight. 2 cautions is pretty impressive still for Daytona in this big of a field. I'm excited to see what these guys have in store for the remainder of this race. Takers down pit road that last time by. A few trucks did decide to come down. Looks like maybe Brian Hennings brought it down. Look how big this field is here tonight. A lot of racing still left to be done with that one fast repair that these drivers get. They haven't abused it. During this caution, I think is a perfect opportunity to maybe pull up a driver that we haven't talked to in a long time. We're going to bring up the number 5 of Ross Phillips. You got a copy, buddy?
Got a copy, brother. What's up, bud?
Well, it was a great race to start out here tonight. We saw caution free for 60 laps almost, and speaks of volumes about the talent that's out here on the track tonight. Now you have a little bit of damage. You're going down pit road to get some of that repaired. What's in store here for the number 5?
Well, we're going to try to make our way back up to the front. We got a little aggressive on that start and started going 3 wide there. And we were doing good. And then a couple of people just, I don't know, got scared of being 3 wide up there. And now we got a bunch of damage. I'm about to go back down pit road again, take a fast repair, and we're going to send her to the front as best we can.
E-fuel on the side of that machine, and it's been up towards the front several different times tonight. I know the usual mentality is to play it safe and kind of sandbag towards the back, but you got up there in that mix. See if we can get it back up there. You've done it once tonight. I believe you can do it again.
Yeah, we're gonna send her and see what we got. Hopefully nothing major happens doing it.
Well, Ross, we appreciate your time. Thank you for being on the radio with us, and maybe we'll talk to you post-race when you get in victory lane.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Number 5 of Ross Phillips, orange speed driver, going down pit road to get that fast repair. And we're doubling back up, getting ready to go back green. Mark Math going to lead him off into turn 1 with Nick Gardner, Stephen Allgaier, Rick Fagone, and Richard Holland, your top 5. I'd like to take this opportunity to crack open another beer. We've had a great race thus far. Hope you're enjoying. Sit down on that couch and watch the remaining 13 laps. Flag to flag coverage here on VSPEED. If you haven't yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button and you'll never miss a single race. We'll be going to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway next week at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. VSRL Truck Series for the 4th time tonight. Gonna take the green flag and Mark Math on the loud pedal. Barely holding on to this lead as they go into turns 3 and 4. Nick Gardner with an excellent push by Richard Holland on the outside. Almost gets clear of him. Now they're back side by side coming off of turn 4. The 199 of Mark Math, a big push by the 818 of Allgaier. And across the line, it's the 199 of Math for another lap led. 12 laps to go. 8 laps led here for the 199, and a little push there on the outside line upsets the 18 actually, the 88 of Cole Jarrett trying to get up there in the mix. Looking on board at the back of Richard Holland in the 18, a good run here. Started back in the 32nd position. He is 28 spots up for the night. Teammate down on the inside, that's the 10 of Rick Fagone. He's holding it down there, trying to get some tandems going. These guys battling it out with the remainder. And as they cross the line, 11 laps to go. Math gonna lead this time by, it's a 16 of Gardner. So another change for the lead. 3 laps led here, and the 16 is clear of the 199 if he wants it. Not now, as he stays up on the outside for another lap. These trucks do get hot. There's a small opening on the front of these machines, and if you look in the back of Nick Gardner's truck, you'll see those bumpers in that small opening, and Richard Holland goes around. Down to the inside, the 10 of Fagone is also involved. Fagone getting the worst end of that. He gets shot all the way down to the inside. Also collected is the 88. Fagone able to keep it off the inside wall. We're back live though, and that's a tough break here. He falls all the way back to 26th position. Richard Holland also loses a ton of ground. He was just on the outside for the first position, back to 25th. They're not done wrecking yet though. Here's Teresa Spiker getting a little out of balance in the 16th spot down the backstretch. 3 wide just in front of her. 10 laps to go. Dylan Disbrow back to the lead now. He has a 74 of Henning, your pole sitter all over the back bumper, and Hennings drops to the inside, trying to make a change for the lead. Morgan Cook, who was trapped a lap down as well. Great recovery for these drivers. They find themselves in the front. Disbrow drops down to the bottom. Cook now with the opening. The 8 of Sean Langton with a big push. Teammates up in the front. And the 5 that we talked to during the commercial and the caution. He's now in the 7th position. Shuffled out of line, 3 wide behind him. Kyle Stewart in the middle in between the 44 of Todd Cleveland. Nick Gardner on the bottom. Still 3 wide as they go into 1. 8 laps to go as they cross the line. And the 44 trying to find an opening. Kyle Stewart has the gap here. He's going to drop down in front of the 24 of Dakota Floyd. And a checkup, and that moved the 24. Almost runs into the back of the 41. A lot of shuffling, moving around here. On board now with a 33 of Paul McDonald. 6 laps left. 7 to be exact. They're still 3 wide. The 5 of Phillips in the middle. And a big shuffle into 3 wide for the lead. Justin Ritchie through the middle now on the inside. Chris Max on the outside. Ritchie has nowhere to go. And a big wreck here into 3. The 51's involved. The 24. Stewart, big wreck into 3. That's going to bring out the 4th caution here tonight. Third caution, rather. A couple different drivers that were involved in that wreck that didn't bring out the yellow. Catch a break, but we're going to take an instant replay and find out what happened exactly. You saw the bits and pieces of these trucks. Brian Henning's down on the inside. There's the 55, the 41, the 51. The 24 involved in it as well. That's the big one. Riding on board here with the 19 of Riley Laverne. You can see the 55 get shot to the outside. And all the chaos that ensues behind him. This is what 3 wide looks like at Daytona. Entire front end of that 51 truck ripped off. Morgan Cook, who caught a break, got back on the lead lap, finds himself into the outside wall. I'm going to go one more time here. That's the 24 Dakota Floyd who gets involved with it. Todd Cleveland also. And one more time here with the 70 of Teresa Spiker on board with her. So caution number 3 of the night here. 5 laps to go. We're approaching overtime in this race. Dylan Disbro maintains the lead. Brian Hennings, your pole sitter, just behind him. Mark Math, who's put on an excellent display, in the 3rd spot. Sean Langton able to sneak by, and Ross Phillips, thankfully, with all that damage, takes his fast repair, doesn't really get involved in that accident. Nick Gardner in 6th spot. Jacob Daniels 7th. Dakota Floyd, who does get clipped there a little bit. He's got a little bit of right front damage on that truck. Going to maintain the top 10. Teresa Spiker, who gets clipped as well. In 9th, Paul McDonald, rounding out your top 10. One of the trucks that were involved in that, we're talking about the 51 of Morgan Cook, the 88 of Cole Jarrett, Nicholas Pressey, Riley Laverne, John Buell got some of that. Stephen Allgaier, Todd Cleveland, Kyle Stewart, Johnson New. A lot of different drivers got caught up in that accident. Lights still on the pace truck, probably approaching the overtime mark. I don't know for sure. They might take the green flag before the white flag. We'll have to wait and see how this all plays out. But it does give us the perfect opportunity to tell you about Orange Speed SRT, the world's first values-driven sim racing team. be your best with Orange Speed SRT and a lot of different Orange Speed drivers out there on the racetrack. Sean Langton, Ross Phillips, the 51 of Morgan Cook, the 41 of Kyle Stewart, also out there getting some damage repaired. I would like to apologize to Morgan Cook. I know I didn't have all of the proper images to put up there on the screen. We'll try to get that fixed in the next broadcast, but some of these other trucks getting fixed. A little bit of damage there on the 8 of Langton, but he's still in the top 5. The 7 of Dylan Disbrow going to try to lead him off as they take the green with 3 laps to go. So a natural green-white checker here tonight. Green-white checkers are on for this race, and they can get another one if the yellow flag comes out before they take the white flag. Adding an additional 3 laps onto this race. But so far, it's went as scheduled, and the 7 of Disbrow is going to lead him into turn 1. 16 laps led for the number 7. But it's Daytona, and you never really know who's going to win this race. As they get ready to come off of turn 4, the Chevy Silverado pace truck going to pull down into pit road. And here we go, green for the 5th time tonight. Green flag up in the air, Geico restart zone, and we're back live and racing. Let's find out who's going to win the inaugural race of Season 3. In a big shove here from the 74 of Hennings. The top 5 splits off for the rest of the field. The 16 of Nick Gardner falls back. Big gap here between, and we've got another yellow. Todd Cleveland involved. So a green-white checker here, and he's going to bring it behind the wall. Let's take an instant replay and find out what happened here to the 44. The 34 gets into the back of the 10 of Fagone, turns him into the 44. Let's ride on board with Rick Fagone on the back. And the 3 just a little bit high there, gets into the left rear quarter panel of the 10. The 14 gets shot down to the inside. Instant replay here with the 14. And he gets thrown to the bottom of the racetrack, does a little loop there in the grass. Not sure who that is all the way down on the apron. But that's going to bring out caution number 5 of the night, I do believe. Number 4. I'm losing count. So a natural green-white checker now leading into another green-white checker in the overtime. And we're going to take the green flag with 3 laps to go. Next time around, white flag will be out. If they can make it back around this racetrack for that white flag, any wrecks that do happen, it will be official, and they'll continue to race all the way back around to the start-finish line. Top 10 ticker up on your screen. Don't expect it to stay the same. These guys are hungry. With only 3 laps to go, it's anybody's race. From Disbrow back to McDonald, even further back, anything can happen. We've seen it all here at Daytona. They really should change the name of this racetrack to Las Vegas because it's like rolling the dice all the way through. Speaking of rolling the dice, we're going to go to Las Vegas next week, September 18th. Hope you guys can tune in live on VSPEED. We're going to take you side by side yellow. Beltway Coffee Co. 200 at Daytona Super Speedway into overtime right after this.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's gonna be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
The road gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes Zwack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
Back here live, Beltway Coffee Co. 200 into overtime with 3 laps to go. Going to take the green flag with Dylan Disbrow leading this pack. The pole sitter on the inside just behind him. Mark Math on the outside with the 8 of Sean Langton. Ross Phillips, Nick Gardner, Jacob Daniels, Dakota Floyd, Teresa Spiker, and Paul McDonald, your top 10. So here we go, getting set to take the green flag, get back in racing. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. Disbrow on the loud pedal in just a moment. Pace truck pulls off. The Silverado's out of the way. Silverado going to lead him into turn 1. Geico restart zone, and we're back underway. VSRL Truck Series. To go, it's already getting heated. Mark Math with a big push from Langton on the outside, coming around to try to get that white flag. A big move there by the 5 of Phillips. He goes to the outside now behind Nick Gardner. Nick Gardner drops down and Mark Math in front of him. The 7 of Disbrow loses the lead. Langton falls back now. Big moves here in the lead pack. The 16 up in front of the 8. Now trying to get the outside run on Mark Math as they come out of turn 4. It's going to be official if they can cross the line for the white flag. 2 to go. Now white flag in the air, and the 70 of Spiker goes down into the grass, but we stay green. White flag in the air now. Final lap, and a big wreck behind them. Big shove here for the 16 of Gardner. He's won here before at Daytona, trying to get it again. Langton all over the back bumper. And the 5 of Phillips trying to give a bigger shove. Orange Speed all over the back bumper, shoves the 16 out of the way. Now another push here from the 5. A teammate down on the bottom, and the 5 is not going to help the 16. It's a big push here for Mark Matt. All over the back bumper again. Matt down to the apron, and he gets shoved out of line. The 7 and the 74 push him out of the way. It's going to be Sean Langton across the line, your winner here tonight. And an excellent drive there by the 8 of Langton. Let's go back on your instant replay and figure out what happens here. Just a massive wreck. All the carnage. The 199 gets pushed out of line. And what a big crash there on the bottom. There was a big crash at the start-finish line just before that. Let's ride with the 16. Gardner's going to finish this race in reverse and come across the line in 9th. He gets thrown up to the outside several different times here tonight. How about that? The 24 Dakota Floyd on top of another truck coming across the line. Jacob Daniels also involved in that. But it's your race winner, Sean Langton, doing the burnouts now. We've got several things to go back and look at. The Orange Speed Vantage truck of Sean Langton somehow gets through all of that, still intact. Post-race interviews with your top 3. Let's go back one more time to this bookmark. Wherever this happens, let's go back just a little bit. This is Nick Gardner getting shoved out of line on the... I believe this is coming off of turn 2. Yes, it is. No, that's off of turn 4, and the 86 of Sanu is involved in it. The 63 of Koss gets a big hit. The 10 of Fagone. Truck shooting through there. Let's go back one more time. I believe that was the 01 of Jimmy Socks that just comes through this at 120 miles per hour if we can get it on board. Trying to get on board here with the 01. Doesn't seem to be working here. He flies through that. And then back up towards the front. You've got Sean Langton pushing the 16. He drops down in front of the 199. As he does that, the 5 is all over the back bumper of the 16, and it just doesn't work. You have teammates on the outside and inside lines. You know the 5's not going to shove the 16 up past his teammate. The 7, who wants to get back up there, shoves the 199 out of line, and unfortunately, Brian Hennings has to pick up the pieces. How about this for your second and third place finishers? They hit each other across the line, and Dakota Floyd gets carried by Nicholas Pressey to finish third. Look at that. Go back a little bit further one more time. Dakota Floyd just on top of another truck here. Gets carried across the line by the bumper for third. So an incredible finish here tonight. Post-race interviews with your top 3. You're watching VSPEED live as we gather these guys up on pit road. It's been a great race, but Sean Langton, your winner here tonight, able to get through all of it unscathed. You're watching VSRL, or VSRL Truck Series, live on VSPEED. We'll be back right after this. Back here live. Beltway Coffee Code 200 has concluded, and we have your top three that we're going to pull up here into the broadcast booth, and an amazing finish for the number 24. You're on the roof of another truck under no bit of your own power, and you have the rear bumper just ahead of Nicholas Pressey to claim third place. That's Dakota Floyd, your third place finisher here tonight. You got a copy?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear, Coop. Yeah, I literally got carried to the finish of the race. I had no idea where I'd finished. As soon as that race was over, I knew I was getting wrecked. I had nowhere to go. And I couldn't see nothing but the catch fence, and I somehow was pushed to third place.
You had your teammate Jacob Daniels bounce off of you. It shot you up towards that catch fence, and Nicholas Pressey wedges his truck right underneath of you. We saw some great racing for the first stage of this race, though. 60 laps, caution-free. I know that you started back in ninth. You went from, back in the field to the front of the field. There were several different times where you almost led some laps. Dakota, how great was this race?
For a 40 truck field that goes 60 laps at Daytona, caution free, I'd say, great time. Awesome work by everybody, and just, super speedway fashion, coming down the last 20, 15 laps. Everybody's getting antsy, pushing a little too hard in some places, maybe going through wide, and, it's bound to happen. It's Daytona, baby. That's how we do it.
That is how we do it, and we're going to Las Vegas next week. You pretty much rolled the dice here tonight, gambled and won. Do you have anybody you'd like to shout out and thank for tonight's performance?
I want to shout out VSPEED. You putting up an awesome broadcast. I'm looking forward to seeing all the races back this season, Coop, so definitely appreciate it. I want to shout out Kyle and Morgan for sure for putting in all the hard work that they did getting this league together, and I'm just looking forward to a hard racing season. And of course, I want to thank the sponsor, Beltway Coffee. Thank you for sponsoring this race, and 16-1 Motorsports Cars. Definitely give them a check, guys. They got awesome product.
Sounds like you've got a pup in the background that's going to thank you for taking him outside in just a moment. But
yeah, absolutely.
Dakota, I appreciate your time, man. Great job. And I would say, excellent drive, but I think you should be thanking Nicholas Pressey for shoving that truck the last 200 feet.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely going to be giving a cut to those guys for pushing me across the start-finish line, that's for sure.
Well, there's your third place finisher here tonight, Dakota Floyd, bringing it home. Not on a single tire at Daytona. Congratulations, man.
Appreciate it, Coop. You have a good night.
So now let's get caught up with our second place finisher, a teammate of the 24. This is the 72 of Jacob Daniels in a very fine looking machine, Beltway Coffee. You bounced off your teammate. He got thrown across the line on the roof of Nicholas Pressey, but you, however, benefited even more as you were able to come out in the second position. Jacob Daniels, congratulations, man.
Well, thank you, Coop, and thank you for the excellent paint job. I really appreciate you putting that together for Beltway Coffee, and also just for this league. I'm so excited. I mean, when I heard that there was going to be an entry fee, I was worried for VSRL. I was rooting for y'all, but didn't really expect to see the turnout that we've seen. And the folks who came out tonight, I mean, a very stout field and a lot of recognizable names. And up until the very, last part of the race, it was very respectful racing. We got the green flag pit stops in and all that sort of stuff. And then, there at the end, it's all chaos. So hopefully I didn't hurt anybody's feelings there because, planned to run the whole season. And, very happy to get a second, but Coop, I want to get that win. So that win is still is eluding me. So we're hoping to get it taken care of at Las Vegas.
Yeah, and the wins that elude you, the races that elude you, there's just so many varieties of tracks. We've got road courses, short tracks, 1.5 miles, the cookie cutters, the super speedways. It really does fit into the wheelhouse to come to a super speedway and try to start the season out great. But we still have a lot of schedule left to do. I know you have plenty of time left to do it. Jacob Daniels, you've come a long way. Do you have anybody you'd like to shout out for tonight's performance?
Well, I want to thank everybody that's on my team. So 16-1 Motorsports. So Dakota, John, great teammates. Not a lot of that drafting, really teammate stuff going on though tonight, just with kind of how the race ran. Obviously my wife for putting up with my iRacing career, and for my mom for being such a big supporter. She is a Cooper fan, but I think I made her proud tonight, so she'll be very happy to watch this footage, and looking forward to going to Vegas and kicking butt. So I'll see you there, Coop.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the fans. I'm just washed. I haven't been on the track in quite some time, but Jacob, congratulations on the second place finish, and we'll see you next week at Las Vegas.
Sounds good, buddy. Have a good one.
You too. So there's your second place finisher, Jacob Daniels, and the number 72 Beltway coffee machine, bringing it home after bouncing off a teammate. We have one interview left to do, and that is your race winner, the number 8 of Sean Langton, getting it done here tonight. Sean, you were able to make it through all of that unscathed. You put it in the right place at the right time. Your teammate, Ross Phillips, he was on the outside. When you made that move down the backstretch to get to the inside of Nick Gardner, did you know you had him at that point?
Never. It's never over till you cross the line. But yeah, thanks.
The whistle.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks to Ross for helping me out there. I have to thank my other teammate Kyle for helping me earlier in the race. I almost lost it. Well, I did lose the draft, about in 20th position, maybe a little further back, and he dropped back and helped me stay on the lead lap. So a huge thanks to Kyle for being a good teammate, keeping me in it.
It was a good race to watch. 60 laps without cautions, an incredible drive here with a field of 35 plus. Did you expect it to go the way it did tonight?
No, not really. I did not expect it to go 60 laps green. That was interesting. I had a hiccup on my first stop. I came across somebody's nose and spun into my pit backwards, lost the draft. But yeah, that last lap was crazy. I'm just glad I was able to get below the 16 there, and I was just mirror driving, and I saw them get together, and I knew I had it when they all started wrecking off 3.
Yeah, and we didn't really mention that, but you reminded me the recovery after that first green flag pit stop puts you back almost a lap down. You were back in the 22nd, 23rd position, and you're able to race your way back up here to the top 5 for the last 3 laps. Congratulations, Sean. Do you have anybody you would like to shout out for the first race in VSRL and your first victory of the season?
Just want to thank everybody for coming out. We had a strong field. It was a really clean race. Thanks to orangespeedvantage.ai. Everybody go check it out. They're doing some great things over there. Ryan put together a great program. If you guys need setups, go check it out. It's brand new. And we look forward to the feedback. I want to say hi to my family at home. Thanks for watching.
We appreciate your time. We'll see you next week at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, where VSRL will be taking the second race of their 15-race season. So thank you for your time, Sean.
Thank you.
So there's your race winner, and he did some celebrating. He did some burnouts. He pretty much finished that engine off. Congratulations to the number 8 to be able to make it through all these big wrecks, all the big carnage that we had, and all the overtime. So taking you through your final finishing order, we're going to take you on this field of 30 plus cars. Show you these results. Sean Langton, your winner. Jacob Daniels, Dakota Floyd, the top 3. Nicholas Pressey, Cole Jarrett, Ross Phillips, Riley Laverne, Dylan Disbro, Nick Gardner, and Thad Miller rounding out your top 10. It was tight all the way through in those last couple laps. Mark Math is going to bring it home in 11th with Richard Holland in 12th. Donald Stewart in 13th with Morgan Cook, a recovery to get back in the lead lap in 14th. Rick Fagone 15th, and some of these drivers that we're mentioning were caught up in that wreck just before the start-finish line. Paul McDonald in 16th, 17th Justin Mullins, Teresa Spiker 18th, Kyle Stewart 15th, or 19th, I apologize, 20th will be John Sanu. 21st will be the number 818 of Stephen Aguirre, and Max Costin 22nd, 23rd, John Buell, Shane Gunter in 24th, Brian Hennings 25th, 26th is going to be Frank Zinjan, and 27th, Chris Max. Randy W. Swale and 28th, Jimmy Sox and 29th. Rounding out the 30 car field is the number 15 of Toby Collins. 31st will be R.F. Boyer with Justin Ritchie, and 32nd, 33rd, Todd Cleveland. Unfortunate for him, he had a lot of laps led here tonight. Gonna finish 5 laps down. Brian Edwards in 34th position. 35th will be Benjamin Richards. Brent McGee, 36th, and your 2 admins here tonight, Garrett Helmlinger and Adam Tips. We hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast, brought to you by Beltway Coffee Co. SCT Truck Series is moving on to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We'll be bringing you live flag-to-flag coverage on VSPEED. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, you should absolutely do that. Like, share, and follow this broadcast so you never miss a single race all season long. It's been a good one. Season number 3 underway. VSRL SCT Truck Series in the action. 60 laps unscathed. We're going to finish it out with 40 lead changes and 4 cautions. I was your host, Bradley Cooper. I hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. We'll see you next time. Enjoy the rest of your week. Take care, everybody.
And here comes Milo. Big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
No, gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes Slack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag